we try and play our part of giving youth the opportunity to bring about the change that they see and they require for themselves by providing access to quality education. We also provide them with opportunities of mentorship, community service. Every one of our students must do community service, life skills training, with all the passion, creativity, daringness that's out there with our youth. We also realize that there are a lot of pressures also that they do face, and especially some of our children from the communities that they come from. So sometimes you're having to, the life skills, just to, how do they deal with life's challenges? There's too much anxiety, depression, and increase in suicide just generally. So we try and address some of those issues. We provide them with internships, and we also support the families where our children come from.
The role of the APF in establishing strategic philanthropy around the continent, particularly important. We've established a relationship with the Kenyatta Trust over the last few years. We think that relationship is particularly important. The Kenyatta Trust essentially consolidates and actually pushes the agenda around what we think is important: strategic giving and effective giving. And that focus particularly around the areas of youth employment, around the areas of leadership, particularly around education, for us is important. We all give as Africans. We give to family, we give to community. There's always someone around us who has a need, and we are always willing to give. But I think that it's important that we all tend to do these things in a very strategic way. One of the things that I'm passionate about is education. I'm chairman of Teach for Nigeria. I sit on the Teach for All board. I think education is one of those ways in which we're going to be able to achieve our objectives on the continent, where we will be able to create value, create wealth, sometimes across the continent, where we'll create a more effective electorate. People who tend to vote more about effective government as opposed to ethnicity and religion. We think that by doing all of these things around some of these issues, we'll be able to achieve our objectives.
Right now we have about 11 national polytechnics. We have several other institutions that can take almost 500 students every year. However, in Kenya, we have also met a slight difficulty because most of the parents, we were trained, your child must go to the university. So going to a national vocational training institution is like we are really persuading them, but I think we must go back. Why are youth not having jobs? They don't have the necessary skill. If you are looking for somebody to fix plumbing work, electrical work, even, and I can also say many times, I've seen this before, if you go around in the country, you will not find somebody with some skills in plumbing, carpentry, missionary, who is sitting at home. Therefore, it makes a good case that parents need to change their attitude and guardians so that they can take their children to vocational to get these skills, those who can. But you realize the government is concerned and they put many programs in place. Let me come to the big four. We have had in Vision 2030 that this government aims by the year 2030 that we have a newly industrialized country with a better quality of life for all Kenyans. That includes the youth. Therefore, for us to be able to do that, we have segmented Vision 2030 for 5 years midterm plans. And in that midterm plan this year, this particular midterm plan of 3 years, we are centering on the big four. So if we are going to do affordable housing 500, we have sat down and said, how many carpenters do we need? How many masons do we need? And now we have linked that with the technical vocational institution so that they'll be able to produce. So government is using evidence-based to be able to prepare some of the people graduating from tertiary institutions to take up jobs.
I recognize that we are at a historic moment of articulation. Our young people are bright. Our young people are eager. And I believe our young people are ready to stand up to be counted. So to answer the question of how do I see our young people today, I can say that truly I see them as potential saviors of our future generations. And I use the word potential cautiously because it is our duty as leaders today to unlock that potential by empowering our youth in order for them to effectively play their part. It follows, therefore, that our role as leaders today is threefold. We must equip our youth with the right educational tools to compete against their peers across the globe. We must also create a domestic environment for free enterprise to thrive and for jobs and opportunities to be created. But we must also ingrain in our youth a sense of African pride so that they can completely transform our approach as to how we exploit the vast wealth and riches that God has given this continent. And thereafter, to ensure that those proceeds are first and foremost used to benefit the people of this continent ahead of all other interests and in an equitable manner. As the founder and patron of the Kenyatta Trust, I believe in the possibility of a stronger, more prosperous Africa, and one that has room for all her people's hopes and aspirations. I believe that the generation of young people that we have today has the potential to expand Africa's productive workforce, promote job creation and entrepreneurship, and to become genuine instruments of change to reverse the devastation caused by years of neglect. Ladies and gentlemen, our African Union's roadmap on harnessing the demographic dividend through investments in our youth presents several strategies for transforming Africa's large youth population into a demographic dividend. They include the improvement of education and skills development, strengthening employment and entrepreneurship, but also strengthening health and well-being, as well as youth